General Hospital will reveal in 2025, the Nurses' Ball in Port Charles unfolded with its usual vibrant atmosphere, glamorous, lively, and filled with anticipation. As always, it brought together familiar faces, dazzling performances, and glittering stage lights. But behind the glitz and glamour were layers of secrets quietly waiting to surface at the perfect moment. While the audience was still mesmerized by Brooke Lynn's opening dance number, all eyes suddenly shifted to a mysterious figure entering the ballroom, Vaughn, a man who had disappeared from Port Charles following a series of entanglements with the underground network. No one expected his sudden return, let alone the explosive truths he was about to unveil that would shatter the evening. Vaughn walked straight to the center of the ballroom as the performances paused. In his hand was a USB drive, which he connected to the main screen on stage. What followed were recordings, surveillance images, and documents tied to illicit dealings that many in the room had long hoped would stay buried. Among them were records exposing Gregory's involvement in laundering dirty money through a medical charity, audio files revealing Finn's knowledge of the scheme, knowledge he kept hidden to protect his family's reputation. Trina sat frozen as an image flashed across the screen, showing her father at a secret meeting with figures connected to the illegal pharmaceutical market, something she never believed possible. And most shocking of all, the final slide revealed a backstage photo from the hospital, Esme, very much alive, staring coldly into the camera, collapsing Spencer's entire belief that her story had ended. The energy in the room swiftly shifted from excitement to chaos. Laura, long regarded as a unifying presence in Port Charles, stepped onto the stage in an attempt to regain control, only to find herself implicated by Vaughn in a document citing negligence in overseeing public health initiatives. Carly sat pale in the back, realizing that parts of her business dealings with Sonny had unknowingly intertwined with the shady transactions orchestrated by Vaughn's network. Meanwhile, several individuals abruptly left the ballroom, including Victor, whom Vaughn named as the puppeteer pulling strings behind a corrupt web embedded within the city's healthcare system. That year's Nurses' Ball didn't end with applause or uplifting tributes to medical heroes. It concluded in heavy silence, as each person left the room carrying a secret exposed, a belief shaken, and a haunting question of what else might be lurking in the shadows. Vaughn vanished after delivering his gift to Port Charles, leaving behind a town on the edge of a reckoning, where the stage lights of the Nurses' Ball no longer simply celebrated beauty, but now illuminated the truth. In addition to Vaughn's surprise appearance, there are also big secrets that will be revealed. At the 2025 Nurses' Ball, while all eyes were drawn to the dazzling stage and the prideful performances of the Port Charles community, Willow Corinthos was suddenly hit with a shocking truth that shattered her entire sense of trust. Amid the celebration, she accidentally overheard a backstage conversation between Tracy and Ned Quartermaine, revealing a long-buried secret, a sexual relationship between Drew Kane and Nina Reeves, something both had gone to great lengths to conceal from the past. Willow was stunned to realize that Drew, the man she had slowly opened her heart to while Michael was away in Germany receiving treatment for severe burns, had once been physically involved with the woman she despised most, Nina. That truth turned every moment between her and Drew into something filthy and delusional. She recalled every hug, every word of comfort, now tainted by betrayal and deception. Drew had not only hidden his past with Nina but had preyed on her vulnerability to enter her life through lies. As Willow tried to remain composed, she crossed paths with Sasha and Cody, both of whom seemed to have known the entire story but had stayed silent to protect her. The feeling of betrayal by even her friends overwhelmed her. Everything around her seemed to collapse at once, and the grand stage now served only as a backdrop to her pain. Willow left the ballroom with a pale face and tear-filled eyes, as if the world she once believed in had just been stolen from her. In that moment, Port Charles held its breath. A kind-hearted woman, known for forgiving too many wrongs, now faced a cruel truth: the man she loved had hidden a sordid past to get close to her. Behind Drew's kind facade lay a history of manipulation, selfish desire, and contempt for the truth. This year's Nurses' Ball was no longer just a celebration of dedication, it had become a stage for exposing the true nature of those who used love to cover their sins. At the 2025 Nurses' Ball, the festive atmosphere of the evening was suddenly disrupted by the gradual unearthing of secrets from the past that no one had anticipated. As the spotlight illuminated meticulously prepared performances, Lulu Spencer quietly observed Brooke Lynn with a gaze heavy with suspicion. In recent weeks, she had followed a trail of fragmented clues, leading to a shocking discovery. Brooke Lynn had given birth to a child with Dante Falconeri and had put the baby up for adoption without informing him. This bitter truth not only stunned Lulu but also stirred deep anger and pain as she realized that someone she once considered a close friend had kept such a life-altering secret. Even worse, Lois Cerullo, Brooke Lynn's mother, turned out to be the one who had concealed everything, quietly watching over the child as he grew up under a different identity. Gio Palmieri, the talented young man who had been right in front of the Port Charles community all along, without anyone suspecting his true connection to Dante and Brooke Lynn. While performers continued on stage, Lulu could no longer hold back. She stood up and walked into the center of the ballroom, forcing Brooke Lynn to face the truth. The shock spread rapidly through the room. Dante was speechless, stunned to learn that he had a son he had never met, while Gio was left frozen, realizing that everything he believed about his life may have been part of a carefully crafted lie. The Quartermain family fell into panic and tension as their reputation was dragged into a whirlwind of scandal and emotional fallout. Sonny Corinthos, who had always considered Dante like a son, could not remain silent in the face of such betrayal from within the family. This revelation didn't just fracture personal relationships, it sent shockwaves through the delicate balance of Port Charles. The Nurses' Ball, once a celebration of dedication and compassion, had now become a stage for unveiling deception and heartbreak too powerful to be hidden any longer. At the 2025 Nurses' Ball, amid the applause and shimmering performances on stage, a horrifying secret lingered just beneath the surface, waiting to shatter the night's glamour. Christina Corinthos Davis, who had been visibly unstable in recent weeks, was hiding a dangerous and nearly deadly act. In a moment of rage and resentment, she had secretly cut the brake lines of Rick Lansing's car. The result was a serious accident that left both Rick and Elizabeth Baldwin injured. Instead of facing the consequences, Christina was quietly shielded by her mother, Alexis Davis, with Sonny Corinthos silently supporting the cover-up to protect his daughter at all costs. Meanwhile, Molly Lansing Davis remained completely unaware of the horrific truth. She had been busy preparing a speech on justice and forgiveness for her part in the evening's celebration. But fate, cruel as ever, chose the Nurses' Ball as the stage for this secret to unravel. Ava Jerome, never one to miss a chance to cause chaos, quietly leaked the truth to Molly. The revelation that her sister, someone she had trusted and admired, could commit such a reckless and vicious act left Molly stunned. Worse yet, Rick, the victim of the sabotage, was her father. The betrayal ran deep, slicing through everything Molly believed about family and morality. The fury exploded like a storm in the lavish ballroom. Molly stormed the stage, unable to contain her emotions, and confronted Christina in front of a stunned crowd. The fierce confrontation between the sisters disrupted the entire event, transforming a night meant to honor community heroes into a bitter family battleground. Christina was unable to defend herself, and when Alexis tried to intervene, things only worsened. Molly, now disillusioned by both her sister and her mother, felt an unbearable sense of betrayal upon realizing that Alexis had chosen to protect one daughter's crime at the cost of the other's trust and the truth itself. From that moment, the fractures in the Davis family became irreparable. Molly left the event in tears, her heart shattered and her anger boiling. She vowed never to forgive Christina, and could no longer trust Alexis. Meanwhile, Christina stood alone, finally realizing that her impulsive actions hadn't just harmed others, they had destroyed the very family she so desperately clung to. That year's Nurses' Ball would be remembered not just for its performances, but for a devastating revelation that shook Port Charles to its core. As the relationship between Lucky Spencer and Elizabeth Baldwin slowly began to rekindle after years of distance, a dangerous secret quietly loomed, threatening to destroy the fragile progress they had made. Lucky, known for his honesty and reserved nature, had recently discovered the devastating truth behind the car accident that left Elizabeth injured. Christina Corinthos Davis had secretly cut the brake lines on Rick Lansing's vehicle, triggering the tragic event. Though deeply torn, Lucky chose to remain silent, wanting to protect Christina and feeling pressured by those close to the Davis family, particularly Alexis and Sonny. However, fate chose the nurses' ball as the moment for all secrets to rise to the surface. As Elizabeth gracefully took the stage with her fellow medical professionals, whispers about the real culprit behind the crash began to spread throughout the ballroom. The pieces slowly came together, and Liz, with her sharp intuition, quickly pieced the truth. What hurt the most was realizing that the man she was beginning to trust again, Lucky, had known all along, and yet said nothing. Disappointment was written all over Liz's face as she confronted Lucky backstage. She didn't need confirmation, his silence and hesitance spoke volumes. With a heart that had been broken too many times, Liz no longer had the strength to wait for excuses. She said nothing, leaving only a bitter glance before walking away, as if every hope had just faded before her eyes. Though feelings still lingered, Lucky's silent betrayal was something she could never forgive. And so, once again, a chance at reconciliation vanished in heartbreak. Lucky stood motionless backstage, watching the woman he loved disappear with a shattered heart. That year's nurses' ball would be remembered not just for its dazzling performances, but for the quiet collapse of a once beautiful love story, buried beneath a well-intentioned lie that ultimately cost everything. At the 2025 nurses' ball, while everyone was still immersed in the stage lights and rounds of applause, Portia Robinson's world crumbled in a single, devastating moment. Drew Kane, having grown increasingly frustrated with Portia's refusal to cooperate with his directives, finally decided to put an end to his patience. In front of the most prestigious audience of the year, Drew publicly exposed the truth. Portia had deliberately falsified Heather Weber's psychiatric evaluation results, manipulating the reports so that Heather would be committed to the hospital instead of being transferred to a mental institution, where she would be beyond their control. Shock rippled through the ballroom as the accusations rang out, but no one was more devastated than Curtis Ashford. Frozen in place, he struggled to process the revelation that the wife he had tried so hard to trust and protect had kept such a serious secret from him. What enraged Curtis even more was the discovery that Portia had not only violated medical ethics but had also been involved in an extortion scheme targeting Drew, something she had willfully concealed. Standing before the crowd, Curtis delivered a cold and cutting blow. He could no longer trust her, and love could not survive in the absence of honesty. In the days following the nurses' ball, the storm surrounding Portia only worsened. She was soon summoned by the hospital board, and with irrefutable evidence provided by Drew, she was officially removed from her position as co-chief of staff. The medical career she had spent years building disintegrated almost overnight because of one grave misjudgment. Then, on a quiet morning, Portia was arrested at her home, charged with falsifying medical records and violating hospital laws. No longer clad in a white coat, stripped of the respect and status she once held, she faced the consequences of her own deception with a hollow, distant gaze. Port Charles had never witnessed a downfall so swift and heartbreaking. A woman once considered a beacon of integrity in the medical community was now a criminal. And it all began with one secret, revealed beneath the glittering lights of the nurses' ball. It was not just the end of a career, it was the collapse of a marriage, a family, and a life built on lies. Based on the intense developments already revealed, the 2025 Nurses' Ball is no longer just an evening of artistic celebration, it has become the epicenter of shocking revelations and long-buried secrets. But the surprises are far from over, and the upcoming segments promise even more jaw-dropping moments for the residents of Port Charles. Leaked information suggests that Ava Jerome may be in possession of a secret video showing Christina Corinthos Davis tampering with the brakes on Rick Lansing's car. If this footage is released publicly during the event, not only will Christina face the full consequences of her actions, but Alexis and Sonny will also come under fire for covering up their daughter's crime. This revelation could shatter Sonny's standing in the community and ignite a new internal war among the power players of Port Charles. Meanwhile, another potential twist centers around Esme Prince. A mysterious witness is rumored to appear at the nurses' ball with proof that Esme is still alive and living under a new identity. This would upend Spencer Cassidy's entire world and threaten to expose secrets that Nicholas has long kept hidden. If Esme truly returns, she may bring with her a wave of vengeance aimed directly at the Cassidy family. The drama doesn't stop there. Rumors also swirl about the possible return of Jason Morgan, previously presumed dead. If he does make a shocking appearance, it will send emotional shockwaves through Carly Spencer and Sam McCall, especially as they've built new relationships in his absence. Jason's return may come with a dangerous secret mission, potentially tied to an international criminal organization making its way into Port Charles. Stay tuned for the next chapters of the 2025 Nurses' Ball, where every moment could mark the beginning of a tragedy, a confrontation, or a rebirth. As the truth comes to light, those who seem the most secure may be the first to fall, and forgotten figures may suddenly rise to become the center of a drama that's far from over.